Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Khan, also known as Jedi Jester, and today we are going to start off with a brand new series called Fundamentals to Elite Division. In this series, we are going to climb up the ranks in Division rivals, starting from Division 10 all the way through the Elite Division. In this journey, we're going to point out the most occurring mistakes in each division that the players make, how to improve at them, and also how to use them for our own advantage. If you are stuck in any division, this series will help you to break your chains and get you to another level by only using the most important mechanics, which are the fundamentals or the basics of the game, so to say. I want to shortly introduce to you my team that I'm aiming to go up with. As you can see, nothing so special about it, roughly around the 250k mark, which should be counted as a casual team at this point of the game. We are not going to make any changes to the squad through this journey and will make our way to the Elite Division. So let's start off with Division 10. I have played several games in Division 10 and the teams I have faced against were mostly cheap starter squads, and most of the matches the opponent quitted the game. Even though we were not able to finish the games, I was able to identify the major problems. Let's take a look at a couple examples to make sure we know what we're exactly dealing with before we head into a full match analysis. The biggest mistake I identified was the movement of the defenders. Players from Division 10 have a tendency to push their defenders forward without bringing them back, so these create a lot of gaps in their danger zone. Once you push your defender forward and don't bring him back, then the other defender will try to cover for his place as well and give up on his own area, which will create another gap for the opposition, and this will trigger a chain reaction. So it is pretty easy to say that the defense becomes really unbalanced. Instead of bringing them out, you have to make sure that you are standing in a fair distance, covering the most dangerous opportunity, and follow the player who is getting in behind the defensive line, so if the opponent makes a rash decision, you will win the ball immediately. The second biggest problem is that the players were dribbling the ball forward without covering it by any means. They were just stuck with their sprint button towards forward, and even though I was able to catch them all the time, they didn't do any sort of skill move such as a simple ball roll to protect it, and the urge to rush forward made them lose the possession unnecessarily. If the opponent makes their intentions clear and makes his way towards your running lane, you can change the ball's direction and make sure you don't get caught by the defender. We are going to head into a full match analysis to examine these much more carefully, but before doing that, I just want to remind you that you should definitely take a look at our Guide Plus application, which you can download for free if you're looking forward to improve yourself in FIFA. In the Guide Plus, you can find in-depth tutorials, structured courses, and interactive quizzes on the topics you mostly struggle with. We are still running our Christmas bundle offer, where you get 2 hours of individual coaching with a private coach, as well as 6 months of the Guide Plus premium membership, which grants you access to all of our tutorials, as well as our monthly group coaching sessions, our Discord server, gameplay analysis, and so much more. So this is the perfect combination of having some personal advice on your gameplay and having all of the premium content we offer in your arsenal, and together with your personal coach, you can set up your individual training course to improve in the game step by step. With the Christmas bundle, you can save over 20%, so if you're interested, make sure you check the link down in the description and make sure to download the Guide Plus and see what the next level learning experience offers by yourself. So we are heading into our promotion match against a decent squad finally. We are going to try to determine the weak points that we talked about before and try to use them to our advantage. The first few minutes are really important to get a pattern on how the opponent plays, so we don't need to take any risks and just observe what he's doing. His first attack comes from the wing. He passes the ball towards Son into the open space. He wants to turn back since he doesn't have anyone in front of him to play the ball to. Just because he doesn't let go of his sprint button, he makes a sharper turn than expected and pushes the ball away from himself, which makes us get the ball easier from him since we are holding our ground at a safe distance. He should have either let go of his sprint button before turning around or do a simple ball roll towards the upper side and then turn towards the back. But now we have seen he didn't use either one of them, we are going to use it against him. To be able to get rid of the chasing defender, I observe his movement, and once I determine it, I quickly push the ball away from his running direction with the most basic skill move. That way I don't get tackled by him and stay in control. While attacking a second time, he goes for a passing lane that we are covering and offers us a counterattacking chance. after I pass the ball forward, he pushes a central defender forward, which creates a huge gap in his back line, and the other defenders try to cover the given space by giving up on their assigned areas. So basically, we were able to determine both focus points we talked about, and we will play accordingly. And this is how I handle the problem myself. I don't need to rush at the attacker once he receives the ball, because if I do it, I will be vulnerable against a player who is running towards the goal line. So I stop pushing forward at a safe distance and try to see what the next move is. Once the pass goes through, I quickly move my selected player in front of him to be able to block any single chance he would take, which wouldn't be possible if I had just rushed out at the attacker in the first place. Another build-up from him ends up with a weak pass once again, and now we go for a counterattack. With our previous knowledge, we want him to move his selected defender as much as possible away from his correct position, so I will pass the ball towards the lower side. While we're on it, he does what we expect from him and drags his left wing back towards the center, which creates the opportunity for our winger to go for an open run. Once he gets the ball, we observe what the opponent does. Since the left wing back can't quite catch our winger, his defense shifts towards the upper side, and if we can play smart, we can use this man advantage. Once the center back shifts towards the wing, he gives away his own space and one of our attackers becomes available. We chip the ball over the defender, control it, but fail to finish it, but nevertheless, we can confirm that this type of an attack will be very dangerous against this opponent. As for a self-criticism, I should have used the extra pass towards my striker and put the ball into the empty net. Earlier we saw two basic passing mistakes, and we will count on them as the opponent tries to play the obvious passing chances. By simply standing between the passer and the receiver, we managed to break down his build-up. We also determined that he is using through balls instead of normal short passes, which is very obvious in the second pass. Instead of passing the ball directly towards the player, he passes the ball to his running lane, which gives me the opportunity to get my feet in between. In the very next position, he makes the same mistake again and passes the ball with a through ball, which allows me to regain possession. Knowing that he selects the defender on the wing, I move my attacker a bit towards the lower side to drag the defender with me, which again creates a space for the winger. The defense shifts again towards the upper side, and with a single ball roll, we manage to change the direction slightly, and that gives us the angle to pass the ball towards the center. At this point, I need to make one more extra pass, which we didn't do earlier, to get the ball towards the free man on the lower side, and as the pass goes through, that is an easy goal. So we basically used all of the information we collected in the first 20 minutes of the game to score the first goal of the match. We know that the opponent tends to press up and pushes defenders forward, so once we get the ball, we push the ball towards the side away from him. This creates easy space for us. However, if he recovers from this and closes the gap, we need to protect the ball. A ball roll followed by a simple dribbling there creates a gap in the center of the pitch. Our opponent manages to get the ball behind the defensive line, and I need to catch him. My first aim is to catch him. However, I'm not going for the player directly, but I'm aiming to go towards his potential running lane. I know from the past experience that he will try to change the ball's direction while running if I'm able to catch his player. So first, I cover the running lane. Meanwhile, I close the gap, and just as he's about to make his turn, I tackle in and make sure I get the ball cleanly. Could he have done better in this position? The answer is yes. As an attacker, if you don't see a possible outcome with your current position, you have to change sides before the opportunity is completely gone. If I were him, I would take a look at the players who are coming from the back and would change the ball's direction before the defender arrives, because as soon as you let the defender come that close, you lose your passing angles. Following this possession loss, we go on a counterattack, and he makes the same mistake of getting his defender out of his position, followed by a lifted through ball. He pulls his both central defenders towards the side, which leaves the center wide open. So what I need to do is to stop the ball, let the defender slip away from me, and pass the ball towards the center. And there we have it. We lead the game once again. We have another chance to extend our lead. The fact that he is pushing his defenders forward gives me the idea of using the element of patience. Once I see the passing lane, I won't pass the ball immediately because he will most probably push his defender into the passing lane, so I pull the ball towards my player's right to find another passing lane towards the player forward. Once my player gets the ball, the opponent fails to switch in time, and since he is late, he will try to get his defender in front of the shooting lane, so I decide to turn around and pass the ball towards my striker. While the ball is traveling, I quickly observe the positionings of the defenders and decide to control the ball in towards the direction where there is no defender's presence, which gives me a clear goal scoring angle and we score. We are looking for another goal here, but obviously the opponent defends much better at this time. Since we can't find any openings, we have to cover the ball until we find one. If the opponent is closing you down, you can turn your back towards him to be able to cover the ball. We switch sides by short passing, and after that we find ourselves in a 2 versus 2 situation, which forces our opponent to panic, and once again he pushes his defender forward and gives us a shooting chance. A very similar position follows, and we end up doing the same thing: cover the ball, switch sides, do the 1-2 passes, and look for a mistake in defense. This time we are able to make one more extra pass to get an optimal shot and score the goal. And for the last position of the match, we take the advantage of the push defender again and again. The defense is completely unbalanced again, shifting towards the danger zone. A quick change of the direction will completely tear it apart, and with a final pass into the box, we score the closing goal of the match, which promotes us to the Division 9. As you can see, the mistakes that the players make in Division 10 don't depend on their squad. We played against a fairly good team in our last match, but since we were able to observe, analyze, and execute, we were able to get a comfortable win. Even though we won all of our games in Division 10, I think it will become harder to win every game once we climb up the divisions. Next up, we are going to continue with Division 9, and like I've said, we are not going to change anything with the team. Our goal is to help you with every single division and get you to the top as fast as possible, but most importantly, to give you a good feeling of how to use the fundamentals of the game. So, let me ask you, what was your best division so far in the previous 2 seasons, and are you excited as much as I am for the rest of this brand new series? Let me know in the comment section below. If you liked this video so far, feel free to drop a like and make sure to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any single FIFA content or the rest of these series. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. Talk to you on the next one. Take care and peace.